Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Morno Balagugu. We've got quite a packed show for you today. We will focus our 1-hour conversation on the Ondo Governorship poll. Here is a rundown of our talking points. First, we'll look at INEC's preparedness, securing election process and clash over peace accords, and of course a whole lot more bordering on the election that is scheduled to hold tomorrow, Saturday. Well, joining the conversation first, we'll have Paul James. He's an election observer. He's the elections manager for Yaga Africa. Our second guest is the chieftain in the APC in Ondo State, Honorable Steve Otalaro, Director Media and Publicity. He will be joining us once again to respond to a whole lot of accusations against the APC ahead of the polls tomorrow. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be right back to break it all down for you. Stay with us. Well, all is set for the much anticipated governorship election in Ondo State. And ahead of Saturday's governorship election in the state, the Independent National Electoral Commission and Election Logistics Technical Support, ELTs, have commenced the distribution of sensitive electoral materials. The state chairman, Aiyedatiwa, shared thoughts on the election materials distribution. Let's take a listen.
The exercise, this distribution exercise is going on very smoothly. The farthest local governments have started moving to their local governments. All the other local governments, they have received their materials, they are checking, and they are loading the vehicles. We are distributing today, and this is just 10 minutes after 12. The vehicles are already moving. Ilaje has left, Ondo has left, Okitipupa and Irele, they are loading, they will soon leave. Then we move to the next set. Akoko, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, Owo, and Ose. They have collected all their materials and they will leave any moment from.
All right, that was Oluwatoyin Babalola, the resident electoral chairman for the election holding in Ondo State tomorrow. Well, amid the pre-election battle for votes, Olubenga Edema, the gubernatorial candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, in the state has requested the Federal High Court to direct the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to withdraw the names of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and his deputy from the list of candidates for the upcoming gubernatorial election. Edema approached the court seeking an interpretation of Section 15 of the third schedule to the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria concerning the nomination of the APC candidates. He argues that Aiyedatiwa's nomination was invalid, asserting that the APC primary held on the 20th of April 2024 was unconstitutional and did not comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022. Now to security update on the election. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Egbetokun, has deployed Sylvester Alabi as the coordinating Deputy Inspector General of Police for the 16th November election. Well, Mr. Adejobi said that Mr. Alabi, the DIG in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department, would oversee the implementation of the police security strategies to maintain law and order throughout the electoral period. He said the deployments are part of comprehensive security measures to ensure a peaceful, transparent, and credible process during the election. Let's have a listen to what Mr. Sylvester Alabi had to say, the DIG Southwest.
What is set for the election with adequate preparations and measures. In line with our operational order for the election, the effective deployment of our personnel across the 3 central districts, 18 local government areas, 203 wards, and 3,903 polling units has commenced. Conventional police officers and tactical elements of the force, comprising the police mobile force, special protection units, counter-terrorism units, explosive ordnance units, and the special intervention squad are already on ground. Provide level playing field on ground for all contesting candidates irrespective of party affiliations or status. Ensure that all electoral campaigns and rallies are peacefully held and in accordance with the laid down laws and regulations. Ensuring secured environment for successful and peaceful conduct of elections throughout the state.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Mustapha Christopher, has assured that security agencies will be non-partisan and impartial in their role in the November 16th governorship election in Ondo State. The CDS said that he was in the state on the directive of President Bola Tinubu to coordinate and ensure synergy among security agencies to provide cover during the election. Let's have a listen to what he said.
Nobody is going to intimidate them. The security forces are working like a team. There's a teamwork. We are one family as Nigerians. I want to appeal to all Nigerians, especially all of the good people of Ondo State, that they should all come out en masse to vote for whom they want. It is important that they come out so that they can vote for people that will make a difference for them. And our own job is to ensure that we provide that enabling environment to do that, and we're going to do that. Remember, there was some few weeks ago, it was Edo State, and the security forces did remarkably well. We're going to remain committed, impartial in all we do. We're not taking sides. We're neutral in our approach, just to make sure that the operation goes. We give all the support to INEC and the Nigerian police.
All right, so we've heard from the INEC REC and, of course, from the police and the army. So all is set on paper for the elections tomorrow. Well, in a move seen to shatter the chances of the Labour Party in Ondo, the Court of Appeal Abuja Division on Wednesday sacked Olushola Ebiseni as the Labour Party candidate for the election, of course, holding tomorrow. Well, Justice Banjoko further added that the certified true copy of the judgment will be made available to the parties in the appeal as soon as possible to go through. Justice Emeka Nwete of the Federal High Court in Abuja had ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to accept and recognize Ebeseni and Awode as the governorship and deputy candidates of the Labour Party for the election in Ondo State. Now, meanwhile, the Labour Party has reaffirmed that its governorship candidate for Saturday's election in the state, Chief Olushola Ebiseni, remains in the race, dismissing the reports suggesting otherwise, of course, from the courts, as I just told you. Well, as campaign activities peak, the Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress again clashed on Tuesday over alleged plans to rig the governorship election. These are some of the developments just to fill you in before we go into the conversation. The PDP, in a statement issued by its publicity secretary, Mr. Kennedy Perete, alleged that the APC leadership planned to have some of its party members as presiding officers for the INEC during the course of the election. However, the publicity secretary of the APC, Alex Kalejaye, said the party had no reason to compromise the election, adding that the people of Ondo love the incumbent governor and, of course, described the PDP allegation as untrue and baseless. Now, another concerning issue arising just before the elections tomorrow is the alleged breach of a peace accord signed by 17 political parties to ensure peaceful and credible election. Now, the PDP Campaign Council accused the APC of violating the peace accord in Akure, stating that the APC-aligned thugs recently attacked PDP members in Idore, leaving 7 injured, and claimed that Otumba Olowoniyi, who was seriously injured, remains in intensive care unit of the specialist hospital in Akure, with others also receiving treatment for gunshot wounds. However, the APC dismissed the allegations as baseless and a figment of the opposition's imagination. Steve Otalaro, Director of Media and Publicity for APC, stated that the APC is committed to a peaceful election and confident of the victory due to the overwhelming support of their candidate. Well, Steve Otalaro is also our guest today on the show and will be speaking with us shortly. Well, 2 updates from our civil society organizations, most especially Yaga Africa on Thursday charged the Independent National Electoral Commission to redouble efforts at protecting the integrity of the electoral process by upholding its regulations and relevant laws in Saturday's governorship election. The organization that gave this charge also called on security agencies to carry out their legitimate duties without being biased or partial to any political party. The chair of the 2024 election mission, Yaga Africa, Mr. Ezenwa Nwagu, speaking on expectations, said the electoral umpire must ensure the early arrival of election materials. So before we get into the conversation, let's have a look at some figures. We have a graphic for you showing the number of polling units, 3,933. There it is. A number of registered voters so far of 2,053,061. Number of wards, 203. A number of local government areas that we will be monitoring during the course of the election process tomorrow, 18. And of course, Ondo population is 5,316,603. So not even more, up to half of the election, of the population is likely to vote tomorrow. And of course, given the figure there, 2 million plus, we would see what the total voter turnout will be during the course of the elections. Well, we have another slide to show you the main contenders for the poll. First of course, is Agbola Ajayi, who is a candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and of course, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, the sitting governor of the state, candidate of the All Progressive Congress, and the Labour Party candidate, Shola Ebiseni, and the New Nigeria People's Party candidate, Olubenga Edema, of course, who has gone to the courts to get Aiyedatiwa off the APC ticket. So what are the key concerns in this election? Well, first off is the economy. And according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, Ondo State has multi-dimensional poverty rate of 27%. And insecurity, border areas of the state are hotspots for bandits and kidnapping, like Okelushe and Akoko local government area. These are some of the key issues. Also, agriculture. Ondo State has access to large farmlands and also rivers with plenty of fishes, but past governors have not been able to breathe life into this sector for investment. And this is these are some of the key issues for voters. Well, joining us right now on Politics Now to make sense of the preparations, the polls of what's going on at the moment in Ondo State is our guest, Paul James, election observer. Once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for the invitation.
So can you tell us what the atmosphere is in Ondo State?
24 hours before the Ondo election, I will say that the atmosphere in Ondo has been largely calm, relatively peaceful. For Yaga Africa, we have been on ground for about 2 months now, since 18th of September. I have joined them on ground since the 28th of September. And I can say that we saw some level of civility or professionalism in the engagement by political parties. The different stakeholders have engaged extensively as expected. The election management body, for instance, had conducted a mock accreditation exercise on the 5th of September, where they tested the bimodal voter accreditation system that will be used for the election. According to INEC, 12,000 of these systems will be used, 4,002 at the polling unit, and another 8,012 will be kept in their own reserve. They have conducted trainings as expected. On Monday this week, materials were received at the CBN, that is the sensitive materials. And then between Monday and yesterday, they were batched according to local government. And yesterday morning, the materials were also transported to all the local government. Our expectation today is that the local government will start receiving the materials and also transporting them to the registration area centers. The security agencies also have been closing ranks. I've had the privilege of engaging with the Commissioner of Police in the state and also the Commandant of the Civil Defense Corps. And both of them have shown level of understanding of the terrain in the state, and also have shared their views about the security mapping that have been done. So far in the build-up to the election, there have just been two major incidents that we recorded, uh, and they may not directly also be connected to the elections in terms of there was a communal clash that was reported in the Federal sometimes in October, and also some kidnappings that also happened around Ose, which the security agency told us they have addressed sufficiently. So, I mean, like you said, 24 hours to the election, there is some, so the place is suspiciously calm, if you understand what I mean. Like the euphoria you usually get around the conduct of election, to some extent in the state, it wasn't as we saw in Edo State. Maybe the level of maturity or political understanding in this place perhaps is what is also playing out. We don't expect, I mean, we expect that it's going to be a good election because the commission had committed to deployment of technologies, and by extension, they said also improvement in the administration of the election. So we are going to hold them by those standards. And also, if anything happen not according to the expectations of the people, of course, as observers, we are going to tell the people exactly what had happened at the polling booth. So we are optimistic, like I will keep saying, that Ondo may experience a different election.
Okay, you made mention the place is suspiciously calm, talking about people, everywhere is just so peaceful, and you're questioning it. Is this due to lack of civic engagement as reported in the media?
Yes, I couldn't agree more because political parties actually didn't even start engaging until the last 1 month. That's why I say it was suspiciously calm. The major, I mean, if you look at the major contenders in the election, most of them did not start public campaigns until like the 15th of October, one like the 20th of October. And then even whilst those campaigns started, uh, the sort of rhetoric we hear around campaigns in Nigeria, attacks on personalities, were the major features of the campaign instead of the engagement that you expect with the citizens. What I mean, what we have seen that is different this time is more about the engagement from the National Orientation Agency, INEC, and civil society that we see in terms of providing the level of voter education and awareness that citizens will need. But to be honest, most of the political parties didn't start any public sort of engagement until the last 1 month. My sense about being suspiciously calm is you also don't know what they have in their arsenals or what they are planning to do. My fear about it will be, we hope they are not also saving up so that they can use those resources to manipulate the process, or if you like, buy votes on election day. There were reports of vote buying here and there in the build up to the election, people giving between 2,000 to 5,000. If you see Africa's pre-election statement, we highlighted that. So that's why for us, we're entertaining the fear that we hope they have not decided to change tactics this time, not to engage the voters, but rather use the resources for to buy vote. And that is why our call to the security agencies to also be on alert and use the election in Ondo to make an example of some of the bad elements that we want to continue to corrupt our electoral democracy.
Now, INEC always seems to have things well prepared for. I mean, we just listened to the REC chairman and, of course, the REC commissioner, I beg your pardon, and, of course, the security operatives, Mr. Alabi, and then the CDF's Mustafa. But on election day, there tends to be irregularities. What seems to be the missing link here?
I agree with you. My fear with INEC is for every election, they give you some glimmer of hope before the election, and then on election day, you see a different outcome. If you remember in November 2023, for the election, in the model of election, we started seeing pre-fill election results. In the Edo election, even after all the promises in the morning of elections, election commencement was delayed. In this Ondo election 4 years ago, if you recall, there were also delayed commencement of polls, especially in the riverine areas of Eseodo and Elaje. Although the commission has said it had checked all the necessary boxes. For instance, it had met with the relevant agencies, the National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Maritime Union, and said we are going to see improvement, especially because according to the commission chairman, the road networks in Ondo are far better than Edo. I mean, the infrastructure in Ondo to a large extent are better than Ondo and so Edo. And so they are hoping that with all of these available resources, we are going to see improvement. So like I will keep saying, we'll hold them by that standard. But it's always very appalling that between elections, you see INEC could do better in this election, just as you are thinking about to just go to sleep because you will expect a good election in the next election, INEC could disappoint. So what we keep saying is oscillating in terms of their performances between elections. But I'm hoping, like I will keep saying, that this election will be different based on what we have seen so far and the level of efforts also by all of these agencies that will be involved in the process.
There's been reports of violation of peace accords over the course of the week, on Tuesday to be precise. I mean, your press briefings, you sort of validated some of these concerns. What more can you tell us went down and what security should do?
Well, the PDP's obligation actually even started before the peace accord. I know I've been interacted with some of the major officers at the PDP where they had complained about intimidation and harassment in places like Idonre local government, places as even Akure South. PDP has even also complained about access to some state facilities, or even if you like, where to even place their campaign posters and all of that. I mean, like I had said earlier, you expect some sort of maturity, especially in terms of the agencies that are responsible for this, to address it promptly. The Commissioner of Police, in one of the interactions we had with him, said they had heard about those allegations, especially about access to location, but then that there was a standard operating procedure that the parties were supposed to apply themselves to, that most of the parties didn't follow those processes. That is why those issues had happened. But again, these allegations are always there, like we see with our politicians. Again, it's how the agencies responsible respond to them. For me, that is most important. There have been commitment from the police to be impartial in their engagement of the process. The PDP's complaint was not just even about the ruling party, but even if you remember, about even the integrity of the commission to manage the election, because there are raised concerns about the state resident electoral commissioner, that her parents are residents of the state, or they have their own house here. And I said it had carried out all the investigation and did not see how that can interfere with the electoral process. So there have been also public statements by IPAC to support INEC. There have been public statements also by the civil societies in Ondo here to support the commission. So I wouldn't want to say that PDP is a lone voice in the process, but I think if those complaints by the party is also genuine and they are investigated, then it should be addressed as expected.
In the last Edo election, we saw politicians try to hijack the process. What is INEC doing differently to ensure that this does not happen? Recall Obaseki storming INEC collation center during the elections then. So what can you tell us?
I agree with you. The sort of political pressure that you see from the politicians on the commission, especially, most times it impairs with the sort of judgment or the sort of administration of the election. We have seen that happen in Edo, where the political exposed persons that were seen in that state were more than you can imagine, from state governors to even the Senate president, almost like it was a national election happening in the state, if you like understand what I mean. So I share that concerns that it could also likely also happen here. 2 days ago, we even saw the vice president coming to the state to provide support to the APC candidate. And again, the elections are here. You also expect that this political exposed person will still be in the state to exert that kind of pressure on the commission. For me, it's becoming a worrying trend in our election that should be addressed. The Edo incident was a case of the former governor going to express his grievances because he thought the process was delayed, or the collation process. And I think all the people involved, INEC and all of that, must do everything within their powers to ensure that the collation process especially is done in an open and transparent manner. If you recall the incident of Edo, it was a case of in a few local governments like Iboba Oha, Oredo, Esako West local government. In Esako West, for instance, there were sporadic gunshots around the vicinity of the collation centers. So the commission staff and some of the security agencies have to move the collation to the capital. Iboba Oha, it was also a case of throwing canisters of tear gas to scare people at the collation center. So the collation was also moved. Ego, same thing, collation was suspended and moved to the capital. I think those were the things that the former governor was trying to express, because as the way those things were happening in record succession was quite alarming. People raised concerns, even the CSOs raised concerns, and we saw the outcome from some of those locations, how it was different from what people saw at the polling unit level. So we don't expect that that should happen also in the election here. We expect that the collation will be done with the support and cooperation of all the stakeholders that are involved, so that we can have a conclude election on November 16th.
Now, transmission of results are still a concern for many Nigerians. Why is the IREF portal still underplayed during the course of our elections, and what is the hope for this particular election?
Well, I am not INEC, and again, we also want to hold them by that standard, because if they make the public commitment to ensure transparency in the entire process of the election, then that should just be the standard. Here, they said they have tested the IREF before the election. Again, what we saw in the case of Edo was the point, like you rightly mentioned, of results on the IRF not matching up to what were announced at the polling unit. And then you can't just dismiss this as just simple mathematical errors, because you see a case where the total number of votes scored per party will match, but the number of accredited voters and all of that on the same document will not match. Or some persons have gone to the extent of even comparing some of the things that were on the IRF and the hard copy results that were also, distributed to party agents at the polling unit, and you see those discrepancies. We have raised those concerns with the INEC chairman at the CSO INEC quarterly roundtable that happened in Abuja at the end of October. And then the commission had made the commitment that they were going to ensure due diligence in that process. So, it's always very shameful that not only even in the IRA, if you think about the other collation processes that had happened, the people that you think are supposed to provide that level of diligence are the people that will be messing you up. These are persons, for instance, lecturers and all of that, that in contrast, if it were a normal school setting, we want to ensure that students don't cheat, the right thing is done and all of that. But simple mathematics, simple calculation of figures will become worrying. Most times you begin to wonder whether or not there is the arrogance of them even submitting themselves to be trained on how to complete the forms or even how to add up numbers. But whatever it is, I think they also need to be humble enough to understand that these things have a way of rubbing off even on their own personal integrity. So, what we will keep doing is just to keep hoping that things will get better. Every election, you get the assurance that things will be better. Election happen, things are messed up. And the problem is, for me, I think maybe the lack of sanction. We have seen in the past where returning officers and all of that have been picked and have been apprehended by the commission. We have also raised those complaints that people should not just be allowed to be making a mess of the entire process, and then there is no sanction, no punishment. So, we'll continue to hope that things will be better with the Ondo election.
Now, is Yaga Africa raising concerns over the REC chairman as alluded by our political parties?
Yeah, so we had to the level that we can as CSOs, and we also have engaged and interacted with both the people of the state and also with even the commission. One thing that is very interesting is that this same person in question had conducted a by-election where nobody had raised concerns about the by-election because it was a federal by-election. But now, when it comes to a state-based election, the other opposing party is raising concern about, if you heard the complaints, they were not necessarily about her own person, but the fact that she could be an interesting party in the process because her parents have a house in the capital. I mean, there is no way that the law forbids anybody from owning a property in the country. Whether it is by divine coincidence, we don't know. She is from Ekiti State. Her parents have a house in this place. So there is the assumption that because she has a house here, she could then begin to think about interfering with the process. And we should also understand that it is just beyond her. This is like an election that the INEC National manages. So I don't see a point where she will pass instruction to all the collation officers, for instance, or all the people at the polling unit to tell them how to or what to do to favor whatever people think that she is installed to favor. I mean, yeah, those are the points we should look for. If you think also about the Edo election that had happened, there were complaints about the resident electoral commissioner there, who is a cousin of one of the serving ministers. We interacted with the resident electoral commissioner as well. And when he stood his ground to say, look, he had a career before INEC. He's a lecturer in the Rivers State University and then a senior lawyer at that. And he also understands what personal integrity will mean for him. The same thing I told you, according to him, this is an election that is just beyond the state INEC. It's managed by the national INEC. That's why you see the INEC chairman coming to town, national commissioners coming to town to provide support. It's going to be the same case here also in Ondo. This is not me speaking for INEC, but just to say, putting out the matters as they are. She is a staff of INEC, has been working with INEC from Abuja before she got transferred to Ondo, and by divine coincidence, now she's a electoral commissioner, and election happens to be happening in our own state. So we should look at the merit of the whole thing. The election is beyond her. She had also stated her grounds on this. There is no way, based on her own understanding as CSOs, that we think she can interfere or manipulate the process if it is not a complete systemic coordination to manipulate the process.
Okay, what are your thoughts on court's interference in the polls? Just days ago, I mean, we saw the NNPP asking the court to disqualify the APPC candidate just a few days to the election. Also, Labour Party candidate is being asked to step down by an appeal court in Abuja. Do you think there should be something done in terms of revamping our electoral laws to ensure these things are sorted out so that the court does not really cause any form of disruption in the election process?
Unfortunately, we have raised concerns about the continued interference of the courts in our election. It constitutes waste, and then also it raises a lot of doubts about the process and raises a lot of crisis of confidence in the commission and other institutions that are also manages our election. What you see in the case is that for every election, sometimes, even before the election, you want to wait to hear from the court before you have the list of the final candidate for the election. Or sometimes you want to even wait to hear from the court before you know whether there is a winner to the election. For me, not a good sign that it's the court that will now be determining our election and not the individuals or the voters that have made a huge sacrifice to participate in the process. I think for me, it's a misplacement of how this whole process should be constructed, and we need to really go back and rethink the approach. For instance, in the case of Edo, few weeks to the election, one of the parties was on the court, in the court to force INEC to include them in the ballot. At the public stakeholder meeting that was held the week before the election, the party was not even in the hall. It was also the same case here for the Ondo election. The same party went to court to compel INEC to have them included on the ballot. As we speak, just yesterday, the party is one of the three parties that have decided to support the candidacy of the APC in the elections. I don't think we should continue to toe the path of just using our elections as the basis of political settlements. Both the court and the political parties need to wake up to the occasion and understand that election or electors are also becoming more smarter. I wouldn't want us to descend to the point where people will begin to turn their backs against the court. This is an exalted institution that is respected all over. Our case should not be a different case. You can't stop people from going to seek redress, but sometimes if this is just done mischievously to ridicule the electoral process, I think the court should find a way of dismissing them.
Well, thank you for your thoughts, Paul James. Hopefully, we hope to get you tomorrow to give us more updates regarding the polls.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, we'll take a quick breather, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to the Media and Publicity Director for the APC in Ondo State, Honorable Steve Otalaro. To stay with us, we'll be right back.
What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join Ellen 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt.
I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now on Ellen 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on Ellen 24/7.
Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics Now on Ellen 24/7, and we have, of course, focusing on the Ondo Governorship Election. Well, joining us right now to look at some political angle away from preparations and all of that is Honorable Steve Otalaro. Many thanks for having you once again on the show.
Thank you very much.
So we have seen three political parties join the APC, and Governor Aiyedatiwa seems confident that he will win the election come tomorrow. What are your thoughts on these new developments?
Yes, we are right from the onset. We've been the party to beat in this election. And that other political party are joining us is just testify to the fact that they must have seen something in us. And that's the more reason they are stepping down for us so that we can have brighter chances of winning this election. And as I speak, others are equally still talking to us. You won't be surprised before the end of the day, more political parties are joining us. So we had our grand finale on Thursday campaign, in which the vice president was here, and the national chairman of our party was equally here, and some other chieftains of our party. They were all here. It was overwhelming. You could just see the direction where this election is going by the amount of people that willingly came out to support us at that rally. So we are good to go tomorrow for this election.
Now, civil society has raised concerns over the plots of voter inducement. What's your reaction to these, and how is the APC going to ensure that they do not fall victim of this particular concern being raised?
Well, that the civil society raised that concern, they are just re-echoing what the opposition have been saying, that they have, that there will be an inducement. That was the allegation. And they were really pointing it out that APCs have to induce voters. And we keep telling them to induce voters. When those state voters are discerning people, you can't bribe them. It's not just possible. Not with this election. They've made up of their mind who they are going to vote for. No matter the amount of inducement you are putting through, it will not work. This is Ondo State. The people are very conscious of such things. And we've been telling them This election, others will say, collect their money and vote against them. We keep saying, you don't have to collect their money. Make it known. Call the security apparatus. Let them know. Some people are trying to induce you for votes. In this election, why will a political party like APC be even contemplating such thing? Where all the feelers in the field suggest that the people are behind us. If any of such concerns are raised, well, maybe the opposition felt the only way they could get a headway is to induce voters, but we tell them they will still fail. As a political party, we are not inducing anybody. We are keep telling our people policies, what we intend, what we are doing, what we intend to continue to do is our major concern for this election. Not how to get some people being induced and to vote for us. That will not happen. And we detest every act that will bring disrepute to this election. We detest it by all ramifications. We are out to educate the people. We are out to campaign based on based on our performances in office. And this is the only way we know they are going to vote for us. And that's exactly what we've been doing from the onset of this election. I will continue to do it till tomorrow when we have that election. As I speak, I've been on my way to my village in where I'm going to vote. But for this interview, I had to stay back a little bit so I can have this interview with you. As I speak, majority of our people have been going to their villages, towns and villages. Akure is virtually becoming empty. So if we are thinking of inducement, are we going to embark on such thing? As a spokesperson of the party, I told you I'm on my way to my village. So, and we are just waiting for the electorate to do the needful. That's what we're expecting. And that's what will happen at the end of the day.
Now, I asked you that question because of the response of the representative from Yaga Africa, who we just spoke to, who said that, it's suspiciously calm in Ondo State. Now, saying that this could be the fact that political actors are just waiting for the D-Day, which is tomorrow, to do something in terms of inducing the voters and engaging them. Why has your party not really engaged voters?
Well, you see, the election ended, the campaign ended yesterday, and we're going by that dictates. Maybe that is part of the reason where the whole street, like I told you, is empty now. A lot of people don't only reside in Akure, but they are not from here. Their voters register is probably in their villages or their towns, and everybody's walking straight to that place. So if there's a concern to that level, and then they need to prove it. We are very much concerned as well, as a political party, that people should not be induced in this election. People should be allowed to vote their will. That is the essence of this election. And any election for that matter, for people to be engaging in trying to induce voters. And I told you, in those state, people are very discerning people. They will not accept that money, let alone vote for you. And whoever is engaging in such thing, is already, it's a testament to the fact that they believe they are not likely to win. Anyone who is going to win this election, who have done his due diligence, we campaign around the 18 local governments, over 304 wards across the states. And what I believe is that our messages has resonated with our people. And come election day, they will do the needful by voting for us. That is what we are banking on, not inducement in any way. But if Yaga raised that, I think they should go further to investigate who are the people behind this. And they should be reported. They should be brought to book. The law enforcement officers for the past 2 days have been coming to Akure, lots of them. And I believe today too, they'll be distributing them across the 18 local governments. And we believe they will do the needful as well by checking whoever wants to do anything like that. That will not happen in this election.
Your party has clashed over allegations of violating peace accords. Looking at what happened in Idore, what is your response to that?
What happened at Idore was an unfortunate one. If you look at since the campaign started, that was the first time such thing would happen. And we responded immediately. I can't rule out the fact that there's some local politics being played out there because the deputy governor of the candidate of PDP is from that end. Maybe, probably, what happened yesterday is still being investigated by the police, but the opposition quickly went to the press, even when police has not concluded their investigation. So what happened at Idore actually was triggered by the PDP. But we don't want to raise much concern. We are focused on this election. And if PDP felt the only way they could talk about it is rushing to the press, that it's APC that is behind it. That is not true. That is not true. That was that they're only making up such accusation. There was nothing like that. What happened yesterday, we are very much concerned. And whoever is responsible should be apprehended. That's our concern. But we only responded when they raised that issue, that it's PD, the APC that is behind it. We told them it's not APC. Our investigation suggests otherwise. But we're not going to make public our own investigation, which was actually directed at them, that they're the one that initiated that. Because almost immediately when that thing happened was when they had that press conference yesterday. If it was not pre-planned, how will you, it's some few kilometers away from Akure, how will you almost immediately have that press conference in Akure alleging that APC is behind it? We are not behind it. And we repeat, we are not behind it. We know who are behind it. I've made our position known to the police. And at the appropriate time, we believe the police should come out with a report that will clearly suggest that it is not APC. It was started by the PDP. And they just want to make issue out of it. But that is just an isolation, one issue out of several peaceful atmosphere we've been having in the state. We are committed to that peace treaty, and we've been imbibing it. When will it be the last day, especially when campaign has been concluded, will such thing happen? Well, the police will be in a better position to tell you what happened. But from our own hand, we've done our investigation, and we realized none of our members was involved in that thing. It was actually triggered by one of their big wigs from that end, from Idori. It wasn't from our party.
There's also been allegations that the government has prevented some parties from using venues and posting posters to campaign for their candidates. What's your reaction to this?
Well, you see, they had their own final rally yesterday. And before they had that rally, some of their dignitaries are coming everywhere from all over the country. You know what they did? They destroyed all our billboard, all our posters along the airport road. They believe some of these dignitaries will be coming from that route. All our visible posters everywhere, billboard was destroyed. We didn't raise any issue. We felt, well, it's okay. If you are doing this for us, you want us to start making issues out of it. We will not. We've restrained ourselves so far, pointing accusation to the opposition. They are the one who have been sowing barrages of attacks and what have you, criticizing our party, criticizing our candidate on this election. But none have we done from our hand, because we believe this election, we are the one to beat. Why should we be crying foul where there's none exist? All what they've been doing, they were expecting reactions from us, but we refuse to react. We refuse. You see, but this time tomorrow, everybody, the whole thing will be more clearer to them. They're losing end. APC will win this election, landslide, by the special grace of God. And the people who have key into continuity of the governance of Lucky Aiyedatiwa will be the one who will be happy at the end of the day. The whole town has been deserted, more or less, quite everywhere. But by the time the election will be declared tomorrow, you'll see a lot of people coming back to the state capital to rejoice with us.
Now, the NNPP candidate took your party to court to have Governor Aiyedatiwa removed due to due process and following the course of the Electoral Act and all sorts. Idema, to be precise. What's your reaction?
The candidate that took us to court contested under our platform. We should have taken him to court, Benga Idema. Contested on our platform. He lost. Then he quickly went to pick up the NPP candidacy. This is not what the electoral law says. You've contested, you went through all the processes. And because you lost, you decided to go to a new political party and pick up their candidacy. We didn't raise this issue. We didn't take them to court. We want to give them that fair hearing. Let him contest, because we know we have nothing to lose by going to court. But for him to have turned around and say we didn't go through due process, he's trying to open and hold wounds. When we get to the courts, his own candidacy will be equally be revisited. I think he's doing himself more harm than good by raising unnecessary falsehoods, false allegation against our candidate. Governor Aiyedatiwa went through all the processes. He emerged at the end of the day victorious. Every other candidate, aspirant in that election are with him today, except him himself. And we felt, well, if you're not ready to reconcile with us, we don't expect you to be turning around, be hitting us unnecessarily. If that is the way he wants to do, then we'll meet at the court. That's all I will say for now.
Now, during the course of a national interview, the candidate of the Labour Party, made a few allegations that there's some figures likely from your party that prevented him from going on the debate stage, and also that those same people are the ones working behind the scenes to have him removed from the ballot as the candidate of the Labour Party. How do you respond to that?
You see, the debate is not, we didn't set the criteria. It was set by China's television. All we knew is they invited us. We don't even know they didn't invite others. Maybe they didn't meet up their criteria, and that's why. And if they are alleging anything, that should not be to us. It is not the governor that organized the debate. The reputable TV station organized it. If they are not invited, that's nothing to do with us. It's even unfortunate that they were not invited, because we expect all these political parties to be invited so that people will be able to see who is who. But because they believe it's one political party that is stronger, two political parties, it's a two horse race. Maybe that's why they only invited APC and PDP. But that they didn't invite them, they shouldn't see that. They should rather divert the energy to the people that organized the debate, not APC. Everything has been APC right from the start of this campaign. One attack of the other. Even when they were alleging that the rec person, they still mention us. They still mention our candidate, that he had a meeting with our candidate, that she's from Ondo State. Every allegation that has to do with any other person, APC will be mentioned. And we understand why they are doing this. When an entire structure of more than 90% of a political party, PDP, has been collapsed to us, what do you expect? They know the catastrophe that is coming. They are only wailing. They are preparing their scripts ahead their loss, because they know they are going to lose this election. So whatever they are doing presently, you just see it as someone who is crying. Because if you believe this election, the magnitude of this election, it tilts towards APC winning this election. So we've gotten used to most of the attacks and criticisms. And we just told all our members to be peaceful, to be calm. At the end of the day, we'll be the one rejoicing. Why should we fight them? Why should we attack them? We've never issued any press statement or make any press conferences attacking oppositions right from the start of this election. It's not that they have not been unruly. They have not reigned in the life of their members. But all these issues, we just left it because we believe that's the best way to go. In as much as the electorate are still with us, our messages keep resonating with them. And at the end of the day, we see clearly all the indicators point out to the fact that we will win this election. Why should we cry? That's the issue. So we're not bothered with any of these allegations, whatever they are saying, but they should look at it critically. What have we done as a political party? Have we done anything illegal? Have we done anything that warrant all those attacks? None. But they're just doing this because that's the only way to go. Instead of them diverting all their energies to campaign, they were diverting all this energy to criticizing the political party that is on the winning side. So, well, they needed to be heard. And that's why they're doing all this. We're not really bothered.
Now, he also made some assertions that most key infrastructure in the state was done during the time of Mimiko under Labour Party government. As at the time, that could mean that your party has not really done much in terms of infrastructure. How do you respond to that assertion?
Aiyedatiwa had 4 years. Are you saying if he has not done anything, he'll be given the second chance? He won that election. Out of the 18 local government, he won 15. Has he not done anything? These are the same set of people who are even praising him. That if it was Aiyedatiwa who have done this, who have done that, which they expect this present governor to have come up with his own achievement, which we did. Aiyedatiwa's legacy, governance is a continuum. What the last governor, late Aiyedatiwa, did, we are continuing with it. Won't you give credit to the man that is continuing with all those projects and even initiating his own? This administration have done a lot, and they know the scorecard are there. But the important thing is they are not the one who's going to decide. The electorate will decide. The good people of Ondo State who are benefiting all these various projects, they are the one who's going to decide. It's not for them to tell them. It is for the people to know. Because, and they are quite aware of it, that you are making unnecessary issues and attack out of what this governor has done. Within the last 10 months in office, he has recruited over 2,000 teachers to beef up the teaching profession. He has done roads, he has flagged off roads in all the 3 senatorial districts. This governor is building a new ultra-modern judicial complex. Has he not done anything? You are aware of all this. This government has beefed up the health sectors. He has bought new equipment for the health sectors. He has even recruited more staffs to the health sectors. He has paid several billions of naira in gratuity to pensioners and staff. All the backlog of their salaries has been paid. Are you saying someone who has not done anything would be at the top of this ballot? All the opinion polls have shown that he's going to win. Are you saying he has not done anything? A state like Ondo State, a well-informed people, a highly cerebral people, will still put him ahead of others. They know this. You see, I hope I'll come back on your program at the end of the day and tell you how much the people have appreciated what Governor Aiyedatiwa has done in 10 months, just 10 months in office. He has done so much that the people are within. Go to all our rallies. People troop out en masse to give him support. All market women, artisans that he has been able to help with grants, they're all happy with him. Oppositions will always be opposition, but we hope they will be constructive. That is only our major concern. They should be constructive enough to say the truth. And if you are not even ready to give us credit, well, don't say what we didn't do. Don't tell lies. That's what they've been doing from the onset. And I won't be surprised if they continue today. But hopefully, everybody will only be at the ballot of their polling station tomorrow. They won't be able to raise any dust any longer. And if there are anything they have to say, that will be after the election. By special grace, we have 18 local government. The last time it was 15 local government for APC and 3 local government when they have a heavyweight like Jegede as their candidate. Now, they are having, who are they having? Most of their party stalwarts are not even working with their candidates, besides the ones who have put into our party. So they have every reason to cry, because this election is as good as gone.
Our time is almost up. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Steve Otalaro, Media Publicity Director for the APC in Ondo State, for joining us today on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's our package for you today. We'll be monitoring all the election process tomorrow. Do stay with LN24/7, our News Now coverage for all of the details regarding this election. And once again, God bless Nigeria. Many thanks for watching.